It wouldn't be my first stream back if I didn't do something stupid. Forgot to turn off the little loop checkbox there. But I'm back. I honestly cannot remember when my last live stream was. It might have been sometime this year, maybe earlier this year. I don't know. I think I remember starting this year. Let me make sure my microphone is not muted. Everything seems to be working. I'm trying to see if I even remember how to do this. Of course, I come back. StreamYard has changed the whole layout. Everything's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here. There's a few people here in the chat. I'm gonna get to you in just a moment. But yes, I'm back. I remember starting out the year thinking, I'm feeling like I'm not gaining much of an audience. I don't have the time to put into this. It's getting frustrating. It's getting disappointing. It's whatever. And I was like, maybe I'll give it till the end of the year. And then I think by maybe springtime, maybe shortly before the Nerdrotic Las Vegas meetup, which I wound up not being able to go to for a lot of different reasons. I was just at that point where I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to pull the plug. I'm done. I thought I'd put this thing to rest for good. And then our whole world started kind of going crazy. We're going to really get into it. Like I know before I was always like, I'm just going to be the music guy. We're going to talk about things that are happy and fun and whatever and stuff. And now I'm just like the state of our world and the state of our nation over the last couple of weeks. I was like, I kind of want to bring the channel back, but I think I'm ready to start stepping on some toes. The problem is, here's the problem with YouTube. Is once you start saying things that they don't like, they shadow ban your channel. So you don't know that you're banned. You're not like banned from posting content. You're not banned from going live. You're not out there, but it just all of a sudden your content gets no reach because they're like, you used certain buzzwords that they didn't like, but they don't tell you that they didn't like them. So it is tough. It's tough to talk about spicy topics in the news on YouTube. I should have done this this afternoon as well. I'm going to look into also trying to simulcast stream this over onto, I think Rumble is one of the ones that's a little more free speech friendly. And when I'm done with the live stream, because I'm too lazy to record videos and edit them and post them and everything, when I'm done with the live stream, I'm going to try to really get better about my due diligence of downloading it and putting it up on Spotify. So for those of you who are in different time zones or just can't catch it live or whatever, if you want to listen back at work, you don't have to deal with the thing of like doing it on YouTube and leaving your phone unlocked or whatever. If you listen back to whatever stupid things I have to say, you can listen to it on Spotify and not have to deal with all the YouTube nonsense. And also Spotify has added now, they have a little more interactivity with podcasts and things of that sort that you can get comments and engagement. And so you can kind of see where you're at a little more with Spotify. So let's go on through. Of course, I have my good friends in the chat already. So good to see you all. We have Lady Marine ready to go. I know it's probably getting close to your bedtime. I appreciate you being here. I will very likely put you to sleep. Cajun Corey, yeah, I don't know who I am anymore either. And my very good friend to the north, Salmond Outdoors. Yes, I pronounced the D in Salmond. And let's see, I know you said something in here about, yeah, no glasses. So I go back and forth with wearing contact lenses and glasses, but and this is where I could kill a little bit of time by giving a little bit of a life update. I moved back in June. I'm still in San Diego, still in California, unfortunately. But I moved. I'm in a little bit of a bigger space where I no longer have shared walls. I don't have to use a green screen to have this shelf behind me. So now I can actually like move around and I have space. And, before I was like stuck between my green screen and my desk and I had to have ring lights all around to light the thing up and everything. But I actually have room to move around. Also, I have a ceiling fan going on above me. So if you guys hear any weird If you hear any weird sounds, let me know. Yeah, so where I moved, just literally less than a mile down the road, is a CrossFit gym, which I used to be quite the regular CrossFitter, and for lots of different reasons that it's not worth going into, I just got lazy and stopped going, and I started doing a whole lot of nothing. Well, this gym that's right down the road, a friend of mine coaches there. He usually does these Sunday hero wads that are dedicated to various military, law enforcement, first responders, folks who died basically in on duty, in battle, whatever different combination of words you want to use. This past yesterday, we did one, and it was took a little bit of a can't even think of the right word. I don't know, but we threw together a workout for Charlie Kirk. Even though we know like he doesn't necessarily fit the guidelines of like he didn't die in war, he didn't die while working in law enforcement, firefighting, EMT, whatever stuff. But given that it was the day of his memorial service, we all threw something together, and it was absolutely brutal and terrible. I'll pull up a picture of the workout of that in just a moment, and we'll talk about that. But anyways, the very, very, very long answer to your no glasses is the first day that I went back to the gym, I was like, I can wear my glasses. I've worked out with my glasses on before. It's no big deal. Well, when it's, 95 degrees and you're, doing jump rope and burpees and lifting weights and running and all sorts of stuff, you have to do this every 5 seconds to push your glasses up, and it gets annoying. So I still had some old contact lenses. I popped them in. I went to the gym this evening, came home, showered, changed everything. And I was like, well, in the past, when I had tried to do my live streams with my glasses on, between my two monitors and my ring lights, just everything was reflecting, everything's shining back on me. So I was like, I'm just going to leave the contacts in until I'm done with the live stream. You're welcome for that incredibly long rant that I'm sure nobody wanted to hear. And yes, absolute amateur hour. It's been a while. It's been easily over 6 months since I've done a live stream, and I just don't really know how to do this anymore. But we're going to get all into why I've decided to come back and why we're going to start talking about some more spicy topics that are going to very quickly get me shadow banned from YouTube. But I'm going to try to explore some other avenues to still be heard. And our whole world was crazy. It's even crazier now. Devin and I were just talking earlier this afternoon when I was at work. He's telling me stuff that's going on in Canada. We were talking about the stuff that's going on in UK and how just everything, like the whole world's crazy. The whole world is crazy. And you always listen to my stupid opinion. I always listen to your stupid opinions while I'm working. And likewise, buddy, we listen to each other's stupid opinions while we're working. We send a lot of voice memos back and forth while we're working, because I usually have Bluetooth earbuds in, and it's just easier to do that than to try to type out DMs that are a mile long, That's always good news. Okay, so I think we are all caught up on Devin making fun of me in the comments. Yes. All right, cool. We're all caught up. So we know, everyone here knows what's been going on in the world at this point, I'd say the past month. I don't need to, obviously, I'm not going to pull up any videos or photos or anything of the bad things that have happened. I do have a couple things that I'll try to pull up, and we'll talk about maybe some of the good that could potentially come out of what has happened. But I don't even really know how to start diving into this, other than the fact that I cannot believe that we, I would say as a country, but here we've got Salmon Outdoors here, who is our good friend, our good buddy to the north, in Canada. So it's not even just an America problem, but just in the world, videos of people dying can get posted to social media, and somebody can see that in their timeline. Somebody can be just at work on their lunch break, just doom scrolling, can literally see a video of the exact moment of somebody bleeding out and dying, and then just be like, oh, that video again, and continue to scroll on and go about their day. Now, I'm not saying the first time people come across these videos, they go about their day like nothing happened, but it's like once you see it 3, 4, 5, 10 times, like people are getting desensitized to it. I honestly believe people are going to start to get desensitized to this, where they're going to be like, oh, it's the Ukrainian girl on the train again. Oh, it's Charlie Kirk again. And like they can just like scroll past it and be like, next. Where's the like cat videos? Where's the funny animal videos? Where's the memes? Where like human beings were not meant to see that. I'm a survivor of a school shooting. I was 14 years old. We were not meant to see people getting shot in the face and bleeding out, but we did. I know people that are, either current or former military, current or former law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, people that have seen people die, and it sticks with you. I'm not going to say it's something that like nobody's ever meant to see, but it's like when you witness something like that, that is a major traumatic event in somebody's life that is not meant to be normalized. That should not be a normal thing for people to just be like, and now it's on social media. How is that on Instagram? How is that like not labeled as, sensitive content or graphic content? Like all the stupid crap the Instagram will like flag and label and pull down and stuff, but you can see, blood and gore and everything. So, but it's like that's not normal. People are not meant to see that. And it's really twisted that has become like just another thing that you see in your timeline. Like, yeah, it's not normal. It should never be normal. Oh, that one too. Yeah, I remember that one. When the guy lit himself on fire. Wouldn't people get that from violent movies and games too? Sure, but I think there is some level to knowing that, okay, this is in a movie, this is done with some sort of stuntman, special effects, whatever, like really actually seeing the video of Charlie Kirk, really seeing the video. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to say right now, I'm just going to keep referring to her as the Ukrainian girl, because I'm sure if I even attempt to pronounce her name, it will be so wrong that I'm just going to look like even more of an idiot than I already do. And it should never, ever be celebrated. So again, Devin, Salmon Outdoors, he's in the chat here with us. We are kind of talking about this over the last week or so of, the people that are happy what happened to Charlie Kirk, the people that are celebrating he was spreading hate. He was, and we're going to get into that too. I'm going to try to pull up some video clips and stuff and be like, nope, where's the hate? Where's the hate? Like, he was very bold in telling people, I don't necessarily agree with your lifestyle, or what you're saying I don't agree with, but whatever. But he never raised his voice at anyone. He never talked down to anyone as if they were less than a human being, a fellow human being. He never name called or slandered or anything. He was always very gentle, very polite, very respectful, willing to listen to other people's opinions. He was very courageous and bold in sharing his own personal beliefs as well, but never in such a way that he would make someone else feel like less of a human for having a different worldview or having a different perspective. Yeah, Jay didn't want to disrespect her by mispronouncing her name too. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like, it's just one of those things where I feel like an idiot that like I can't figure out how to like look it up and phonetically. But same thing. I just like I would rather not like butcher the poor girl's name. That was probably a poor choice of words. I apologize for that as well, sincerely. But yes, the world has gone crazy. We're going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel. We're going to talk about Charlie Kirk. we're going to talk about the girl on the train, the whole thing. But like I said, just kind of slowly getting into things here, talking about going back to the gym and trying to better myself and different things and whatnot, and why I'm not wearing my glasses. Come on, computer, work with me. It's already glitching out. I have restarted my laptop so many times this afternoon to make sure that nothing is going to glitch out. Oh, come on, StreamYard. How? Nope, don't leave studio. Don't add guest. Extra camera, video, image, share screen. There it is. I found it. Oh my gosh. It's been a really long time. Let's see if we can zoom in here. So this was the workout we one of the coaches at my gym threw together yesterday for Charlie. Like I said, it was kind of breaks the rules a little bit because these hero workouts are, like I said, typically reserved for military, law enforcement, firefighter, EMT, first responders, but folks that, you know, die like doing their job, die like on duty of what they do. CrossFit recognizes a lot of those hero wads and stuff, but this one obviously is not an official CrossFit workout. We just, you know, one of the coaches made it up on his own, and we did it just because it was the day of his memorial service. And we're going to talk a lot about that too. I watched the entire 5.5 hour memorial service, and it was a lot. There were a lot of tears. There's a lot of, it was a lot. It was a whole lot. So in teams of 2, split up however you want, we did 31 rounds because Charlie Kirk was 31 years old, 9 push-ups or pull-ups, 10 bodyweight deadlifts, or 10 thrusters, which if you're not familiar with a thruster, it's essentially you load your bar up with some weight, you pick it up, go into a front squat, and as you come up out of the front squat, you launch it overhead into a press, and then back into a front squat, back into a press. It's terrible. It just crushes your lungs, and you can't breathe. 25 double unders. So with a jump rope, you get the jump rope to pass underneath your feet 2 times in a single jump, or 25 burpees. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what a burpee is. And then after you have done 31 rounds of your 9, 10, 25, you finished it with a 2,521 meter row buyout, which was brutal. So obviously the 9, 10, 25 is because Charlie Kirk was shot on September 10th, 2025. And then the 2,521 meter row buyout was a reference to Matthew chapter 25, verse 21, which I'm actually going to go ahead and read now. Because since I have no idea what I'm doing with bringing back the channel, and we're going to start getting into some difficult and tough, spicy topics, I thought it might be kind of cool to, you know, do some sort of either like quick little devotional or something at the beginning, or even this is just a perfect format to, as I'm talking about this workout, and that row at the end of the workout is a reference to a verse from Matthew. I'm going to go ahead and read that. And we've got Blair in the house. Hello. Good to see you, man. I know I've been away for a long time, but I'm still here. And yeah, I decided that it was time to get back on here and maybe start saying a bunch of stuff that's going to get me shadow banned like within the next hour on YouTube. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Yeah, so it's a partner watch. So like I said, like they're split it up between the two of you however you want. So the way we did it with my partners, like I did the 9 push-ups, my partner did the 10 lifts, I did the 25 double unders. And since there were 3 movements between the two of us, when you go to the next round, you swap, where it's like now the partner does the 9 push-ups, I did the 10 deadlifts, the partner did the 25 jump rope, and back and forth. So you shared the work, but holy moly, yeah, it took almost 58 minutes. That row at the very end was not fun. But let's pull up this verse, because it's definitely one that was quoted a lot during Charlie Kirk's memorial service yesterday. I almost kind of thought, well, let's see, 21. I was kind of thinking, because the verse is like right smack in the middle of the parable of the talents, and like I could probably real quick like read through the whole parable. and then we'll start getting into the spicy topics and whatnot. But so yeah, why don't I go ahead and do this? So the verse that was the reference to the row at the end of the workout, and of course the one that everyone keeps posting in tribute to Charlie Kirk and was quoted many times yesterday during his memorial service, is his master said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master." So that's like the one snippet. That's the one verse. But I always like to kind of take things in context, because if you just take the Bible like trail mix and pick verses here and there, they kind of don't make sense. So the parable of the talents has been used in a lot of different ways of, actual money and finance. Other times they look at it more of kind of like talents and gifts that are given to us, like the song, like "This Little Light of Mine," don't hide it under a bushel, that whole thing. It's like, don't squander your God-given gifts and your God-given talents. So this is Jesus, talking to his disciples in the parable of the talents. Starting in verse 14, he says, "For it is just like a man about to go on a journey, who called his own servants and entrusted his possessions to them. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to the last one, each according to his own ability. And he went on his journey. Immediately, the one who had received the 5 talents went and traded with them and gained 5 more. In the same manner, the one who had received the 2 talents gained 2 more. But he who received the 1 talent went away, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. The one who had received the 5 talents came up and brought 5 more, saying, 'Master, you trusted 5 talents to me. See, I have gained 5 more.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' Also, the one who had received the 2 talents came up and said, 'Master, you entrusted 2 talents to me. See, I have gained 2 more.' His master said to him, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Enter into the joy of your master.' And the one also who had received the 1 talent came up and said, 'Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you scattered no seed. And I was afraid and went away and hid your talent in the ground. See, you have what is yours.' But his master answered and said to him, 'You wicked, lazy servant, you know that I reap where I did not sow and gather where I scattered no seed. Then you ought to have put my money in the bank, and on my arrival I would have received my money back with interest. Therefore, take away the talent from him and give it to the one who has the 10. For to everyone who has more shall be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who does not have, even what he does have shall be taken away. Throw out the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.'" So again, just kind of like the one snippet is the verse that everyone keeps using for Charlie Kirk. And I fully agree with that too. But sometimes I think it's good to at least kind of get the majority of the story in there to get a little more context out of it. And that story can be looked at in a lot of different ways. Like I said, it can actually be looked at as monetary, money, financial things of that meaning. He's talking about you could have, done something with it, gained interest, whatever. But also it's when you're given certain talents and certain gifts to not hide them and to not squander them and not use them. So, so watched the Charlie Kirk memorial yesterday. There were a lot of speakers, 5.5 hours. It was a lot. We got speeches from the likes of Vice President J.D. Vance. We got speeches from, of course, President Trump at the very end. Many people within the Turning Point USA organization. RFK spoke, many other White House staffers. But of course, and everybody knew this was going to happen. But when Erica Kirk got up there and spoke, not a dry eye in the house. I mean, you could just see how hard she was struggling to even be able to get up there and say anything. I think it was a combination of just being in awe of the love of all those people that showed up to honor Charlie, but then also Still the grief being so very fresh. So it's been this Wednesday I think will be 3 weeks. Um it is still so fresh. So it was just like I feel like it was just like this combination of being so in awe of the love and support while still grieving and still dealing with this. And yeah, when she said that she forgives him, um I realize and I recognize that that is the Christian thing to do, but I will full disclosure here, full transparency, I'll be completely honest. As I mentioned earlier, being the survivor of a school shooting and losing one of my childhood friends to that shooting at my high school, I'm not entirely sure I could still say that I forgive that shooter. Um, I talked a lot about this back. Okay, so yeah, I did do live streams this year because I did one back on March 5th when it was the anniversary of the shooting at my school. The people, so at my school shooting, Santana High School, the people he hurt are not the people who bullied him or were mean to him. And like, obviously, murder is wrong no matter what. No matter what, it's wrong. But with Charlie Kirk, it was a very direct, calculated attack. Still absolutely horrific, absolutely terrible. But like, and this is already starting to sound bad. I'm not trying to compare my tragedy to what has happened to the Kirk family. I'm really not. But all I'm trying to say is that at least it's like Charlie was innocent, but so were these high school students who didn't even do anything to the person who brought the gun to school. But I will say, I have never once blamed the gun. I have never once said that, oh, more laws and more rules would have protected us. I blame the dad for being irresponsible and not keeping the key or whatever it was he used to keep that gun locked up more secure away from his 14-year-old son. So, number one, it's the dad's fault for being irresponsible. Um, and yeah, he went and hurt a bunch of innocent people who had never even bullied him or were never even mean to him. So I lost a friend because of that. And he was interviewed once and they said, "Oh, did you know Brian? Did you recognize who he was before you put the gun to his head and pulled the trigger?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I knew Brian. We had classes together. He was always really nice to me." It's like, so you knew this person. You knew that he was always really nice to you, but you knew who he was when you put a gun right to the back of his head and pulled the trigger. I am going to be completely honest. I still have a very hard time forgiving that person. And he's been trying over the last year or so. We have another hearing coming up here soon. He's been trying everything he possibly can, every new legal loophole to try and get a parole and try to get out early when his sentence was 50 years to life. He got a 25-year sentence for each life he took. 2 students died that day. 13 others were physically wounded. Countless other people were traumatized and wounded. So many people have tried to make the case for this that, like, okay, if he was given 25 years for Brian and 25 years for Randy, then 50 years to life, if you let him out at the 25-year mark, which one of those 2 boys' lives didn't matter? So, to Erica Kirk, I commend you. I applaud you. That takes a lot of strength to only a few weeks later say that you forgive this person. And like I said, I know it is the right thing to do. It is the Christian thing to do, but that's a tough one. That is tough. Let's see. Let me catch up here just a little bit. Um, yeah, that was not a dry eye in the house. So like I said, I watched the whole thing live, and even on social media after the fact, when I was like seeing it on Instagram, even when the reel would pop up with the audio muted, when I would just see her, I knew what she was about to say. And same thing, I'm like, I can't watch this clip again. Um, that just the amount of strength and courage is insane. Yeah. Oh, you're fine. I know. We can still crack jokes, but yeah, I mean, we're talking more serious topics, but we can still make some funny, still crack jokes and whatnot. But like I said, I'm not gonna pull up like the photos and the videos and stuff, but I just like I have been so shaken by the things that are able to be shown on social media now. The girl getting stabbed in the neck on the train. Again, the fact that that video can be posted on just something where somebody can just be scrolling along and see that and then just be like, yeah, where's what's next? What's the next thing? Um, it's just it's insane to me, and I still cannot get the image out of my head of like, okay, he stabs her in the neck or whatever, and then just walks away. And um, I'm totally blanking on the guy's name. I'm sure both Lady Marine and Salmon Outdoors are going to know the guy who like choked out the homeless guy on the train before and was like put in prison for however many months or whatever until they determined that it was him. I mean, self-defense, but also protecting the other people on that subway or train or whatever. One, people don't want to get involved with the person that was violent because either they themselves don't want to get hurt or they don't want to deal with the situation of getting tossed in jail. Matthew Penny, thank you, Devin. Thank you. I knew like it was rattling around in there somewhere, but I'm just like, instead of trying to guess, I knew one of you would know it because you're all smarter than me. One, people don't want to get hurt themselves. Two, people saw what happened to this guy. He was a good Samaritan trying to protect not only himself, but the other people on this train from this erratic person who was saying, I'm going to kill everybody on this train. And yet he still was put in jail until they could figure out what to do with him. And then number three, again, people are just so selfish and desensitized to this stuff that they just sit there and go, not my problem, and just get on their phones and just. Even after the guy that stabbed her walked off the train, the fact that nobody tried to help her, just the look, I'm going to start tearing up saying this, like the look on her face of just like, why? Like, what just happened to me and why? While she slowly sat there and bled out and then collapsed on the floor. Just like humanity has just reached such a low. I can't even like. It's insane to me that the guy walked off the train. He left, like he stabbed her and he walked away. So okay, fine. You're no longer in danger of that guy coming after you. Nobody tried to help her. I yeah, people on the train ignored it all, just playing on their phone. Yeah, everyone just said, "Oh, not my business, not my problem." Day it happened. Told my wife when I got home from work we were going to watch something after dinner, and my wife was like, "Yeah, I can't do this. It's giving me whiplash." Fair enough. Yeah, it's everyone was playing on their phones, terrified, and died alone. That's the thing that I can't get out of my brain is that she fell on the floor just by herself, confused, scared, like. And with that, two people that did try it weren't even in that car. Yeah. I mean, that's probably fair too, but I just, yeah, I don't know, man. It's insane. So then, we have the Charlie Kirk thing. Again, another video that people were not meant to, first of all, something that no one was ever meant to see. And secondly, no one was ever meant to see it on social media. His wife and kids were there. His children are like, I think what, like 4 and 1. Like their son is like barely a year old, and I think their daughter is what, 4 years old. They were there, and that's going to be one of the charges brought up on the gunman. They said that like all the other stuff already part of the charges of the being brought against him, but they said one of them is that there were minors under the age of 14 present. I can't. That's another one that like the video is just like in the timeline, whether you wanted to see it or not. Like there it was, and it's burned in my brain forever. Human beings were not meant to. This should not be normal. This should not be a thing that we're just like, oh, it's just something I saw on Instagram. Um, but so in the days since this has happened, I've seen so many people say, you know, oh well, we need to continue the work that Charlie was doing. And what was the work that Charlie Kirk was doing? He was essentially going into places where he knew people disagreed with him, and all he wanted was to calmly sit down and have a civil, rational conversation with people with whom he disagreed with and which he knew disagreed with him, but he was willing to give them the platform to be heard, for him to listen, not just be in his own echo chamber and not just surround himself with people that think and believe exactly like he does. He would still very boldly state his beliefs, his opinions, his worldviews, and where he disagreed with people. But he was never rude. He was never condescending. He never called anybody any like mean, offensive names. He never talked down to anyone like they were a lesser human being because he disagreed with them. And we've got Steven Ransom in the house. Good evening to you, brother. Good to see you, man. How are you? These events have revealed the literal definitions of a replicant in the book Creatures. And I've got some screenshots over here too from the lead singer of a band that I'm a bit of a fan of, that he is kind of calling out some of this nonsense for what it is too. But yeah, it is insane. Right on, Devin. Well, I know you're on a little bit of a different time zone, but thanks for popping in, buddy. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And like I said, I'm going to try to get these things up on Spotify. Hopefully I can remember to do it tonight. So y'all can catch the replays without having to deal with the YouTubes. But talk to you tomorrow, buddy. See you. So yeah, that like his only crime was just wanting to. He just wanted to talk to people, and we have lost the art of, hey, there's my bizarro dad. Heavy emphasis on bizarro. Yeah, we're talking some spicy topics today, man. I decided, I was like, you know what? I don't care about getting shadow banned anymore. I've got some stuff to say, and we're going to talk about it. We've all seen the videos. We've all seen the narratives, everything out there, all the people trying to paint Charlie Kirk as a hateful individual simply because he was saying, oh, well, you know, have you considered just like getting married and having kids, and like maybe the wife should stay home and take care of the kids, and then the husband goes out and earns and whatever. And fine, at the end of the day, that is not the path for everyone. He is just talking about very traditional values. He is not talking down on anyone who chooses to do that differently, but he is saying his worldview, his beliefs, his faith says that that is the role of, you know, the wife takes care of the household and the children, and the, you know, takes care of the family. The husband goes out and earns and provides and protects. But he never said that anyone who didn't live exactly like that was a bad person or was wrong or was, you know, I think I have at least one clip that I found and I saved where he's at one of his rallies and he has someone come up that says they're non-binary, and the crowd, I'm assuming he was at a more conservative university, which is sounds like kind of an oxymoron. It's kind of a rare thing to see, I guess, you know. But this person comes up and says they're non-binary. The crowd behind this individual, whatever they identify as, starts to like boo and heckle and everything. And Charlie Kirk stops him. He says, hey, you know, let's afford this individual the same respect as anyone else. They have stepped up to the microphone to ask a question or to speak or whatever, and let's allow them to have their question heard. And as we've seen, as we've probably all seen in his video clips, whatever these people say, he will usually still add in some level of, okay, well, I disagree with your worldview, or I disagree with your lifestyle, or I whatever, but he allows the person to speak as long as they are being respectful, as long as they're not shouting or screaming or name calling or anything. They are having civil discourse. And this is something that we have so severely lost as a society. I always think of George Costanza in the one Seinfeld episode at the Chinese restaurant. And he's like waiting to use the payphone, and the person just like keeps looking at him like, he's like, we live in a society. But no, jokes aside, seriously, like, we need to be able to have civil discourse. We need to be able to talk to people with whom we disagree. You put 5 to 10 people in a room, you're not going to agree with those 5 to 10 people on every single issue, no matter what. Statistically, eventually you're going to disagree on something. But the left has used this tactic of, oh, well, I disagree with you, so I have to scream, you're an ist or a phobe or a bigot or whatever. Like, they've dehumanized the people that they disagree with. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment. I've got some screenshots I'm going to pull up. Somebody that said it much more eloquently than I did. But this one particular clip really kind of got my attention for this very reason, that Charlie Kirk never shied away from saying, I disagree with what you're saying, but he would still fight for that person's right to say it. See if I can remember how to share screens again. There we go. Share audio. Okay, I've got the tab checked that says share audio, but something always goes wrong. In the chat, folks, let me know if you can hear the audio when I start playing this or not. All right, Charlie defends non-binary male feminist from crowd. Where's the audio? There we go. I've got it muted on my screen. Here we go.
Never do to us.
Raise your hand if you're progressive. No? We have one?
I love this school. This is a great school. I love this place. You don't have a lot of allies here.
It's going to be a tough crowd. Well, my name is Davin Damien. I am non-binary. I am here with the Alliance.
Hold on one second. Can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
Guys, hold on 1 second. So we outnumber, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Davin
Davin.
Damien.
We outnumber Davin. That's unusual on a college campus. However, let's do something that liberals never do to us. Let's give him, I think, courtesy. Courtesy that we don't give them. How about that? Okay. So is everyone cool with that? All right. So let's not heckle. Let's not interrupt. Let's be the ambassadors for freedom of speech. Cool. Okay. Please continue.
I must say thank you. Thank you for that, Charlie. So I'm here with the Alliance of Male Feminists defending women's bodies.
Let's do something that liberals never do to us.
Raise your hand if you're.
There we go. So yeah, what this individual was going on to say is obviously something that Charlie Kirk is going to severely disagree with. He's saying he's non-binary, male feminist, rights for women's bodies, whatever stuff. But exactly that, just about as soon as the crowd started to heckle they, them, him, whatever, I don't know. I don't even know. The fact that Charlie showed grace to this person and was like, hey, you know what? That's what the left does. That's what the liberals do. They shout over people. They don't allow people to speak. They don't want to hear opinions different than theirs. And after you hear the opinion, you are absolutely free to say, I disagree. But you can do it in a civil manner. Again, it's this thing that like we're doing right now. I realize the irony in that we're all staring at a screen, whether you're on a computer, whether you're on your phone. I'm sitting here talking into a webcam and I've got you guys in my chat. So I appreciate you guys being here hanging out with me. But we are communicating through screens. That dehumanizes people a little bit. We've lost the art of being able to sit across the table from somebody, look them in the eyes, make eye contact, have a conversation, whether you agree with them or not, but to do it without insulting the other person, without dehumanizing the other person, without slandering the other person. So all of this stuff that I've been watching and reading and everything about Charlie Kirk since his just horrible, gruesome, untimely passing, is everyone is saying we need to continue the work that Charlie did. Now, again, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not on here trying to say that I'm about to be the next Charlie Kirk. I'm just a nobody. I'm some idiot sitting here talking into a webcam. But initially, when I first launched a YouTube channel years ago, something I never in a million years thought I would ever do, there was sort of that spark in me that I wanted to get out there and find. At first, it was kind of like, well, I wanted to find like-minded people because we were sort of we're still sort of right in the midst of the pandemic and things being locked down and things just being crazy due to all of that. I would like to say, and I'd like to believe, life has largely gone back to normal since then. There's obviously still some people out there that still wear masks and still whatever, but for the most part, I think we can all agree life's kind of gone back to normal for the most part. But it's like one being that I work in a machine shop. Okay, fine. I work with a lot of guys who don't really have a lot of hobbies and things, where it's just like they go to work, like work is their social time, and then they go home and like drink beer and watch football. Like that's about it. Outside of my day job of being a blue collar worker in a machine shop, I'm also a musician. Typically, people that have more of the creative side to them, artists, musicians, things of that sort, tend to be very left leaning and be very liberal. So on one hand, yes, I was trying to find other people like myself that were maybe, work your day job, but also have like a creative side, but we're kind of like-minded and kind of the same. But also, like what Charlie was doing, he was not afraid to go out and talk to people that would disagree with him. So again, not trying to compare myself to him, not trying to say that I'm going to suddenly like start the next Turning Point USA. I'm not going to be the next Charlie Kirk, but I feel like now more than ever, it is very, very important that anyone who feels that they have any kind of spark in them, if they have something to say or to have something to put it out there, to not be afraid to do it. Not be afraid that YouTube's going to shadow ban you. Not be afraid that you're going to get some nasty comments and people are going to call you all sorts of mean names and you're, whatever. But just put it out there. Even during the memorial service, Vice President J.D. Vance said that watching Charlie Kirk, and especially even in the recent weeks since his passing, that Vice President Vance has felt more emboldened and empowered to speak about his faith in Jesus and to get out there and do that. And that he admitted that there were maybe times where he was maybe even a little bit embarrassed or would maybe sort of like shy away from sharing his faith and stuff. And it's a it's double-edged sword, two-sided coin, whatever you want to call it there, in that nobody wants something shoved in their face or shoved down their throat 24/7. So again, it's like nobody likes that person that's constantly like trying to shove their faith down your throat 24/7, whether you want it or not. But when it comes up in conversation and you can tell stories from your life of like, oh, well, this thing happened in my life and my faith is what helped me through that situation, not shying away from those conversations and not shying away from saying those things. For Kismet, this loss is our shame. Let's turn it into our strength. Be excellent. Yeah, be excellent to each other. Let's see if I can find that clip. Yeah.
Be excellent to each other.
I think that's all Charlie wanted, He just wanted us to be excellent to each other, to have conversations, to have calm civil discourse. Stand firm in your beliefs. Don't back down from what you believe, but you can do it respectfully. What was one of the things I had on here? He said, people were talking at the memorial service. He said, when, Charlie Kirk, he said, it takes no skill to be courageous. To be courageous is a choice. You can choose to stand for something and to be bold and be courageous in that, or you can choose to just kind of sit on the sidelines and never really step on anyone's toes and just kind of always be the nice guy and stuff. But he's like, it takes no skill to be courageous. And it's a choice. Every day it's a choice to get up and choose to be courageous. So I had some screenshots here. So there's this band called Nothing More that I am a fan of, who their singer, and I'm not going to sit here and try to paint this guy as being a conservative because I don't think he is, but I think he's probably along the lines of like a Joe Rogan, where he's probably somewhere in the middle, but calls out the nonsense on both sides of the political fence, because I think we can all agree, no matter which way you vote, I'll say I don't necessarily consider myself a conservative, because I feel like trying to say that you belong to one political party, I don't blindly subscribe to what a political party says. I have conservative values that cause me to lean more towards the Republican Party, but I'm not going to be the type of person that just like looks at something and goes, "Oh, see, this is what all the Republicans are doing. That must be the right thing." It's like, no, they do bad things too. Yes, I voted for Donald Trump. Have I been happy with everything he has done in his presidency? Absolutely not. He's done some good things. He's done some bad things. He's not done some things he was supposed to do, but whatever. Part of voting, again, another thing I think we've lost, people feel like once they vote for a candidate, that candidate must be infallible. They're human. We're all human. We've all fallen short. We've all fallen. No human being is perfect. No human being is infallible. No human being is above reproach. But people will just blindly follow their candidate. And no matter what they do, they'll be like, well, I voted for that person, so I can't say that they did anything wrong. Yes, you can. You can absolutely say, yes, I voted for this person, but I still think they're screwing up. Like, we are very sadly in the deep, dark ages of the lesser of two evils. I mean, come on, really. That last election, like, what were people supposed to do? I think so many people jumped ship from the Democratic Party just because let me just say, it's very, very strange times when I think somebody like Bill Maher is speaking sense. Bill Maher is still an arrogant prick, but Bill Maher has been accused of becoming conservative. Bill Maher is a lifelong dyed-in-the-wool Democrat who, even if he didn't like her, probably still voted for Kamala because he can't stand Trump and he has Trump derangement syndrome. But I hear certain clips and things of him talking, and I'm just like, oh my God, he's actually making sense. Like, he's speaking like common sense. And when did you go conservative? And he's like, I didn't change. It's like the Democratic Party lost their minds. And now people think someone like Bill Maher is conservative because the extreme left has gone so extreme. Hey, buddy, one of my oldest friends in the whole wide world has joined us. Good to see you, bud. How you doing, bud? Some would suggest Massa killed him because he started questioning Israel and their policies. Man, that is a whole other can of worms. That is a whole other thing. So anyways, just talking about, like, you can vote for someone and then still say, hey, I still don't like some of the stuff they're doing. We're still waiting on that Epstein list, which apparently doesn't exist anymore. You know, and I love how people are trying to now, after 4 years of Biden, not a peep about the list. But now all of a sudden Trump is back in office and everyone's absolutely convinced he's on the list. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. And you know what? I'll say this. If he's on the list and he did really horrific, unspeakable things, I would still say he should be in jail with everybody else that's on the list. I still say release the list. I don't care if the guy that I voted for is on there. I'll admit, hey, I was wrong. He should be in prison just like everybody else. That's not the big gotcha moment that you think it is, because the Clintons are on there. I'm sure Gavin Newsom is on there. The Biden family is probably on there. The Obamas are probably on there. You don't think all of Hollywood and the Democratic Party and, you know, probably the frickin' Pope himself is probably on that list somewhere? Every powerful human being in this world is probably somewhere on that list. So trying to say, oh, Trump is on the Epstein list, that's not the gotcha moment you think it is. I still want to see the list, but obviously we never are now. So anyways, it's neither here nor there. Trump were on the list of Democrats would have put the spotlight on that. No, absolutely. But I'm just saying the point is, whether he is or is not on the list, they're trying to use this now as their big gotcha for Trump. And I'm like, that's not the gotcha that you think it is, because you're seriously acting like you don't think there's a ton of Democrats on there too. everybody's on it. Like, so, like, oh God. Oh, I told you it was going to get spicy. So anyway, so this band, Nothing More, they're starting to catch some heat because their singer, Johnny Hawkins, has been, he's been getting pretty outspoken about some stuff lately. And I grabbed some screenshots because it was from his story on Instagram. So I didn't know if they would disappear before I could do the show. This is one where I'm going to kind of tiptoe around some of these words because I'm sure I've already been shadow banned probably like an hour ago before I even started the show. But there's some hard words in these slides that I'll see if I can zoom in enough for y'all to see them without me reading them. So this is a series of Instagram stories from Johnny Hawkins from the band Nothing More. He says, they didn't kill you because you were actually a Nazi. They call you a Nazi so they can kill you. Let's continue. Let's go this way. They don't ostracize you because you are actually racist. They call you that so they can ostracize you. Next slide. Where is it? Come on. It's like a combination of trying to zoom in, but then go to the next slide. Come on. There we go. They don't conflate respectful disagreement with hate because you are hateful. They call it hate so they can hate you. Come on, zoom out. Go to the next one. And then here's kind of the longer one, the summary. Who is they? They are the ones who have literally inversed reality and then called you crazy, hateful, or racists for nothing. Rather than just saying that they respectfully disagree and have a different perspective, they demonize you online and then smile to your face, too cowardly to confront you directly. I always treat people with kindness and give them grace if they do the same. I have a heart for people who are mistreated or left out. I always have and always will. But grace is a two-way street, and my heart is cold to those who harbor arrogance, envy, and hatred. Respect and kindness will be met with respect and kindness. Aggression and attacks will be met with overwhelming force. It's that simple. To those who understand, I send my love and strength. To those who don't, I extend the olive branch one more time. So they've been catching a lot of hate because I don't really know where the rest of the band stands on this, but if you listen to their music, it's very clear that they are very critical of corporate America, commercialized religion or weaponized religion, and just that, like he's talking about, like, you know, we've lost this ability, again, kind of like what Charlie Kirk was aiming for. We've lost this ability to sit across the table from someone, to be able to make eye contact with someone, be able to have a conversation with someone. All these people watching the memorial service, all the tributes I've been seeing online for Charlie Kirk, everyone they're like, pick up the phone, call somebody who pops into your mind, call a friend you haven't checked in on a while, get together with somebody, look somebody in the eye, have a conversation face to face, put your phone down and connect with people. That was all Charlie ever wanted to do, was just to connect with people and to make people think. You know, if when he would go out to these campuses and debate with these students, at the end of the day, maybe he changed somebody, maybe he changed hearts and minds, maybe he didn't, but at the very least, he probably made those young people think. Like, maybe they went home and maybe looked up an article on something that they wouldn't have previously thought to look up. Maybe they, you know, thought, okay, you know, like maybe I could be wrong about some things and stuff. It's just, he just wanted to have conversation. Yeah, they always very much reminded me of Fair to Midland. First time I heard them, I actually almost wondered if it was the singer from Fair to Midland, which unfortunately it's not, but still a great band. And yes, they dehumanize us. It makes killing us legitimate. It's a standard Marxist tactic. View any communist revolution in history. And that's pretty much the final point of all those slides, is that once they can dehumanize us, then they can justify and say, oh, well, he was spreading hate. Oh, he was a bigot. He was a this. He was a that. He was none of those things. He was literally none of those things. You could disagree with his personal beliefs and his worldviews and his perspectives all you want, but he never hated anyone. And look at where we're at. So again, I keep saying it's like I'm not trying to come on here and be like I'm the next Charlie Kirk, and it's like I'm a nobody. I'm some idiot with a webcam and a couple of ring lights, sitting here in my spare bedroom, talking to anyone that'll tune in and hang out. But I think it is important that people who believe in freedom of speech and want to stand up for freedom of speech get out there and do exactly that. Speak up, use your freedom of speech. So with that, let's talk about Jimmy Kimmel. What do you say? Oh boy. And I'm not gonna bring up stuff he did in the Man Show and everything, because that was a long time ago. And that is what cancel culture is. Cancel culture is digging around and finding stuff that happened more than 10 years ago. I do believe that people can grow and change and mature and, whatever. We are not our past mistakes. Even though the Man Show was pretty hilarious. It was great back in the day. But that's not what we do. Cancel culture is looking into people's past and not looking at the person they are now. The Man Show was hilarious. Jimmy Kimmel now is a complete piece of shit who is completely unwilling to apologize for knowingly and willingly spreading absolutely blatant lies about Charlie Kirk's murderer. And it's been pretty indisputably proven false what he said, and he will not. He hasn't said a peep. He's supposed to go back on air tomorrow. I've got a couple things I'm going to pull up right now that say that he's not going to go back on air tomorrow because the Sinclair Corporation or whatever they're called is not going to allow it. But that's the thing, right? Like, that's the whole leftist tactic, is when you do something wrong, when you break the rules, when you offend somebody, when you hurt someone's feelings, you're supposed to bend the knee and you're supposed to apologize and you're supposed to retract the statement, whatever. They only want the conservatives to do that. Does anyone remember Gina Carano? Anyone? She made a post on her personal Instagram. And I mean, okay, fine, I get it. When you are a public figure, like an actor, a talk show host, whatever, like, it's no longer really your personal account unless you make it private. But Gina Carano was a very popular character on a very popular series called The Mandalorian, and she was posting stuff on her social media basically saying that what people were doing to each other during the pandemic was similar to what Germany did a really long time ago that was really, really bad. We're not going to talk about the details of that because I'm probably already in trouble with the YouTube gods, but everyone here knows exactly what I'm talking about. I don't need to get into that. If she had to go to court, she had to go into a lawsuit with it where they settled, and I don't know the details of the settlement, but if she's happy, then that means that she has found peace with what happened. But she didn't get her job back 2 days later, or however many days later. They didn't come back and, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna bring you back, we're gonna put you back on the Mandalorian, like, the internet completely turned on her for something that was not offensive in the slightest. It actually kind of proved her point, the way that they like demonized her for it. And she's been, fighting tooth and nail these last few years just to, try to either get her, not necessarily get her job back with Disney, but just to find work, taking them to court. Elon Musk said that he was going to foot the bill, the whole thing, everything. Jimmy Kimmel spews absolute, blatant, provable lies, refuses to apologize. Oh, we're going to put him back on the air tomorrow. And Sinclair was like, hold my beer. Hold on. Let me catch up on your comments here, guys. Dehumanize here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, they've weaponized everything: sex, film, media, law, language, hope, trust, everything. Everything's weaponized, but everything comes down to, if you can dehumanize your opponent, then you no longer see that person. Like the person who shot Charlie Kirk did not see him as a human being. He decided that because Charlie Kirk was spewing hate, whatever, in his mind, he was like, this person is no longer human. The people who were happy that happened to Charlie Kirk, the people who are practically dancing on his grave, the people who are mocking his widow and his children do not see him as human. Like, what has happened that, like, we can get so far away from just seeing other people as exactly that, other people, other human beings, that yes, we have different opinions, yes, we have different beliefs, yes, we have different worldviews, yes, we have different perspectives, but we are all still human beings who we're just trying to do our best to get through life. And Steph spreads hate. He says, roll tide. The lies they have been spouting about Charlie are unforgivable. Absolutely. And he doubles down. He won't apologize. He won't retract his statement. If he actually does go back on the air tomorrow, I can't wait. I hope he says something so stupid that he gets like completely yanked and canceled. And then again, everyone's going to freak out. Oh, we're basically in Russia now. We're basically in North Korea now. It's like, no. If we were in North Korea, Jimmy Kimmel either would have been dead or in prison for what he said. Like, everybody calm down on the North Korea stuff. The guy who was actually advocating for free speech is the one who's no longer alive. Let's remember that. The show's over. It's on hospice care now. Yeah, that's like the main thing. More than anything, the comments I've been seeing on the internet is everyone's like, he hasn't been funny for years anyway, so who even cares? Like, the network was probably looking for an excuse to can him, but then they were like, oh, we're going to bring him back. Sinclair isn't going to air his show. Yeah, I'm going to get into that here like now. Absolutely. You know what? I should have worn that shirt. That's the shirt I should have worn tonight. Next Monday. He says he's a news source. He's a comedic one, an oxymoron. I mean, that's even being generous calling him a comedian. It's the guy who cried the day after the election. Networks have to follow different rules. FCC regulations are a thing that social media and YouTube don't have to worry about from a legal standpoint. Yes, and that's the other thing. He actually violated like a contract or a legal standpoint in that you cannot get up there and spew lies that you know are lies. Or if he said the thing and then the next day comes out and they're like, hey, actually, here's all this stuff that says that's not true, you are obligated to come back and say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. Like, what I said yesterday was untrue. And, you know, whatever. Back in the day with print media, when people would buy a newspaper, you know, or a magazine or whatever, you were obligated to print the truth. Now, don't get me wrong. News has always had its spin. News has always had its bias. But if, say, an editor allowed something to be published in a newspaper that was absolutely false, like what Jimmy Kimmel said about Charlie Kirk's murderer, they would have then been obligated, there's the word I'm looking for, words are hard. They would have been obligated to print a retraction, which first of all would cost more money because it's going to take up another section in the next newspaper that they have to print and they have to put it out there. But they would have to basically print a retraction to say, you know, we discovered the fact that the information we had previously reported on is false, and now we have to print a retraction, and now we know it's not true and whatever stuff. With the internet now, or even, I mean, hell, Fox News, CNN, you know, CBC, anything, like anyone can say anything. Nobody is being held accountable. And I say that to both sides. I say that to Fox News. I say that to CNN. I say that everyone, like any news source you watch, one is biased, one has spin. Anyone can just spew lies and there's no accountability. No one's calling anyone out on this stuff. No one is being like, hey, like, you have to print a retraction. You have to come back and say, we know this is not true. So again, we're losing that side of being like, hey, Jimmy Kimmel came out and said something blatantly false. We're like, we want you to apologize. And he said, no. It's like, well, we know that you're lying. You know that you're lying. You know that this person was not a MAGA conservative extremist, whatever, but you know, he thinks he's on the right side of history because he's a liberal. And then, yes, to that, cheers to Gina. She did get put on a new project. she is moving forward. I know. I mean, I don't know what she's been doing the last couple of years. She's been kind of off the grid a little bit. She pops up on social media here and there, but it sounds like she's been just, living her life, loving her life, doing what she can. But I think at the end of the day, she wants to probably get back to doing what she loves too. I'm sure whatever she has been doing these last couple of years has very much been fulfilling and bringing her joy and happiness and all of those things. But yeah, if we can get back to a point of like not demonizing people, they are ists, liberal. Yep, absolutely. Retractions are now secret edits of digital articles, 100%. So let's pull up a couple of things that Lady Marine sent me earlier. Because I first saw some of this stuff on Facebook, but I know whenever I see an article on Facebook, I immediately don't believe that it's true, just because I feel like pretty much everything on Facebook is clickbait, rage bait. You do a quick Google search and none of it ever turns out to be true. Once the jug is broken and the false info is out there, the retraction on page 15 does not fix it. No, because no one reads the retraction. Nobody cares. They'll like what they've been doing with Charlie Kirk. They'll pull up the little video clips edited and taken out of context and go, oh yeah, look, here's the thing. This is the thing where Charlie Kirk is a bad person. It's like, well, those are all taken out of context. Those are all whatever. So major breaking. Sinclair Broadcast Group. So again, I'm sure everybody that is here currently watching is aware that ABC and Disney said earlier today that they were going to reinstate the Jimmy Kimmel Live show tomorrow, Tuesday, September 23rd. As of, when was this posted? I can't see the time. At 4:15 p.m. This was posted on, I still call it Twitter. Sue me. Major breaking. Sinclair Broadcast Group, who owns 31 ABC stations, just announced they will refuse to broadcast Jimmy Kimmel's show when ABC puts him back on air. Thank you. We are Sinclair. Next star must do the same. Sinclair has major concerns about the show and won't bring Kimmel back until changes are made. The company said Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting the Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. Somebody that actually reports the news and doesn't just make fun of people who didn't get the jab. That's another one. He's another one of these ones that he's like, oh, if you didn't get the jab, you basically deserve to die. I read a few hours ago when I was still at work and I was supposed to be working, but I was, scrolling on my phone. That of course, Howard Stern, everybody loves Howard Stern, right? Like, talk about another irrelevant, washed up nobody. The guy, Howard Stern, is an individual who literally built his career off of anti-censorship, being the shock jock, being the guy that could, say and do whatever he wanted and everything. And then all of a sudden, when was it? A year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was, Howard Stern was advocating for all the people that said Spotify should pull the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Their most successful and popular podcast, by the way, because he was spreading dangerous misinformation about stuff that a doctor literally prescribed him to do to get better after being diagnosed with the virus of unknown origins. So again, Howard Stern, the guy that literally built his career off of being all, edgy and whatever and everything, was like, oh yeah, I think Joe Rogan should be canceled. And it's like, what? Okay, so naturally, very leftist Howard Stern had strong opinions about the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing, right? I saw some articles, there were some screenshots, but I always like to go to the source when I see these things. So I see, okay, Howard Stern had things to say about Jimmy Kimmel. So I went on over to the Howard Stern Show Twitter page. All of his comments were shut off. So he wants to have a hot take on stuff that's going on in the world. He still wants to be Mr. Uncensored Shock Jock, but he doesn't want to hear what people have to say about his opinions. Like a regular coward, like a just everyday coward who is going to go out there and say, I believe this unpopular thing about this thing, but I'm not going to let any of you comment on this tweet to tell me that I'm an idiot or that I'm washed up or that I'm a has-been or that nobody cares anymore. I personally think that if you are any sort of public figure, politician, talk show host, radio host, when you rise to a level of basically having like celebrity level status, you should not be allowed to turn your comments off on social media. You're going to put dumb shit out there, you should be able to hear the shit that's going to come in from the people that have opinions on your opinions. That's just my 2 cents there. But so let's see. Tuesday night, blah, blah, blah. Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. Discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return. Let's back up here a little bit and catch up. At this point, I've got people saying that AI puts any quote in doubt. The world has gone crazy. Yeah. I don't like this AI stuff either. That's another whole other can of worms that I just like. Everybody needs to go back and revisit the Terminator franchise, or maybe even just Terminator 2. Just watch Terminator 2. It's not good. This doesn't end well for us. Or like the meme where it's John Connor watching you make friends with ChatGPT. Like it's not good. You had a ball sack behind a mic, you get Howard Stern. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He's Howard Stern is the meme of old man yells at cloud. You're gonna have hot takes on public opinion. You should have to hear what people have to say about your public opinion. Stern became what? You lost me on that one a little bit, Steph. All right. Let's get this next one going. Oh, boy. I think we're having a great time right now, though. Hope you guys are having a good time. I just really no longer care about pissing people off or getting shadow banned. So I'm just gonna hopefully come on here at least Mondays. I think I'm just gonna keep it to once a week right now. We're just gonna come on here and talk some spicy topics because that's just where we're at now. And this was a radio personality before you were born. Well, I am very young. Radio someone Stern hated and bashed for years. Okay. So thank you, Roman and Steph, for the insight. But still, it's amazing that like he was seriously pushing for Joe Rogan to like have his show pulled. And it's like, dude, you of all people, like you built your career off of like anti-censorship. This one's for Roman.
Today is my 111th birthday. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve.
So it raises the question. Let me get rid of this. We don't need to keep looking at his stupid face. Actually, no, I think I have another tweet before we move on. It kind of just repeats the same thing, but I am kind of enjoying this. This is from the official Sinclair Incorporated. Beginning Tuesday night, Sinclair will be preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live across our ABC affiliate stations and replacing it with news programming. Discussions with ABC are ongoing as we evaluate the show's potential return. Right on, Corey. Thanks for hanging out, man. Good to see you. I'm going to try to at least bring back the Monday nights, so it'll probably be around this same time, a little bit later for some of y'all that are on different time zones, but 6:30 p.m. California time. But thanks again for being here, bud. Hopefully see you next week. Have a good night. So I've been kind of having this discussion with a few people. Steph, I know, is one of them. Devin, who he already had to take off as well. How do we feel? And I think I kind of know what the climate is in the room here with the chat, but I just want to put it out there just to, keep the chat going and keep things rolling here. How does this make us feel about the question of freedom of speech? Talk about somebody like Gina Carano, who was fired over a social media post. You can talk about someone who was literally gunned down and assassinated in public in front of his wife and children. for advocating for free speech. You can talk about someone here who only had his show pulled for a mere couple of days for his free speech. Charlie Kirk was one of those people that he said, it's like, even if I disagree with you, I will fight to the death for your right to say it. But freedom of speech does not mean freedom from consequences. So we can say something like what happened to Gina Carano was they went after her. They looked at her social media. They dug through her tweets and, oh, you follow this person on Twitter. You liked these anti-vaxxer tweets. You posted this thing on Instagram that I didn't like or whatever. But that was her kind of personal life of things that she was sharing, things that she was liking, things that she was following. She didn't go on national television. She didn't go on an interview where she was supposed to be promoting the new season of The Mandalorian and say dumb shit. Jimmy Kimmel went out on national television and spewed provable lies. So I want everyone's take on this. Who's hanging out here? Where does this fall? What do we think? How do we feel about the issue of freedom of speech versus what Jimmy Kimmel did versus others who have lost their jobs and did not get their jobs back, but were in very different circumstances of how they lost their jobs? Depends on the platform and who runs it at the time. Agreed. That is also true. You can say whatever you want, but don't resist arrest. Okay. If I say something online that makes my employer look bad, they have the right to fire me. Fair. He should be heavily hit with fines from the FCC for one. So all good, valid points. So like what Roman says, I don't necessarily know if this was like your intention. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth or anything, but to that measure, that could kind of say that even what Gina Carano did, Disney could say, hey, we know like this is your social media and you're posting this stuff, but it's like you are an employee of Disney and we don't necessarily like it, whatever. But even still, perhaps it could have been a conversation before just blatantly firing her and just kind of being like, where are you at? Are you willing to take it down? Are you willing to, whatever. But it is still the thing of like, whether you said it on national television or on your personal Instagram, you have the right to freedom of speech. You do not have the right to freedom of consequences, and private companies are not obligated to employ you. Freedom of speech is certainly under attack from both sides, it seems. I would agree with that statement as well. It's the different, each side wants to control a different level of freedom of speech. I think it's an inherent nature for people to want to shut up somebody that they disagree with, which again, I got to keep coming back to, kind of the whole thing of why I'm back here in front of this camera tonight and just having this fire lit underneath me, to, kind of do what Charlie Kirk was doing, try to get out there and like talk about the difficult topics and the difficult things, but be willing to hear other people that I might not agree with. In that, it's natural for most people to want to say, hey, like, I don't agree with what you're saying, so I want you to shut up. Now, whether people should lose their jobs for that, that is a whole other thing. Lots of people have been losing their jobs for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And that, raises further questions like, okay, you put this on your personal social media, but a privately owned company can still choose to say, you know what, like maybe we don't want to do business with you, or maybe we don't want to employ somebody who is going to celebrate the death of what they largely viewed as an innocent man. People can say all the mean, hateful things they want about him. It's like he was not inciting violence on anyone. He was not encouraging violence upon anyone. He himself was never aggressive or violent towards anyone. He did not deserve what happened to him. His family did not deserve what happened to them now. So again, to the people that are like out there celebrating and everything, some of those people have been losing their jobs, and it's like, okay, where do we stand on that? Is that good? Is that bad? Is that right? Is that wrong? Freedom of speech means you don't go to jail, but it doesn't mean nothing will happen. That's, privately owned companies still have the right. So like me with my job, it is an at-will employment. At any point in time, my employer could let me go with or without explanation, or at any time I could just either stop showing up or just tell them I'm not going to come back with or without explanation. Is it at-will employment? It is the courteous thing to do to let someone know that you are letting them go, and why it is the courteous thing to do to give notice when you are leaving a job. But at-will employment means at any time I or my employer could sever our agreement. And compelling violent action should be criminalized. This isn't a restriction of speech, it's a prohibition of violence. Make sure to, hey, thanks, Blair. And definitely, make sure to hit that like button on the live stream. I forgot to kind of do my own promotion here. You can say what you want, but you reap what you sow too. So again, the Gina Carano thing is one situation. It's one example. I think a lot of people have been drawing comparisons to Roseanne, saying that she, posted things that were, racist and whatever stuff. But or when even when Trump was banned from Twitter, I don't think I saved that clip. There's another one. It was like an Instagram reel of Stephen Colbert and all these people just like going on and on. Oh yeah, Trump was banned from Twitter, and they're all celebrating it. They're all happy. They're everything and stuff. And it's like, so they're happy when it happens to one of their opponents, but then when it happens to one of their own, oh, now all of a sudden we're living in North Korea. Now all of a sudden we're in Russia. Now all of a sudden free speech is under attack. And it's like, I mean, call me crazy, but I thought free speech was under attack when the guy who literally advocated for free speech was shot in the neck while advocating for free speech. Nobody deserved to die for what he was doing. He did not deserve to die for what he was doing. I have a couple things here. So this is let me just click through some of these slides. I saved this one a couple days ago. We'll go through some of these. I had another one that I thought I had saved, but I guess I forgot, or just didn't click the button. But let's go ahead and click through some of these. I think we're kind of winding down. Maybe I'm running out of stuff to talk about unless we can get the conversation lit up again. I'm going to make sure I shared audio, but now it's probably too late. Anyways, these are some of the lies that the left has been spreading about Charlie Kirk, and yet here is the truth. Lie. Charlie Kirk said Black women don't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. Reality. In 2023, Charlie Kirk called out 4 very specific women who continually promoted anti-white and anti-Asian affirmative action policies: Michelle Obama, Sheila Jackson Lee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Joy Reid. Quote, they're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. We know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. Lie. Charlie promoted stoning gays. This one has been retracted from Stephen King, but as we all know, Stephen King is another one of those old man yells at clouds, grumpy old man that just has severe TDS. Stephen King tweeted he advocated stoning gays to death, just saying. And the asterisk here, Stephen King has since taken down this post saying this is what I get for reading something on Twitter without fact checking. Reality. Charlie Kirk was calling out children's YouTuber Miss Rachel for taking Bible verses out of context, which happens a lot from people who do not actually understand the Bible. Quote, by the way, Miss Rachel, you might want to crack open the Bible of yours in a lesser referenced part of the same scripture, Leviticus 18, which we all know. Leviticus in the Old Testament talks about how you shouldn't trim the sides of your hair on your head. You shouldn't trim your beard. You shouldn't tattoo your body. You shouldn't eat pork. There's lots of things in Leviticus that New Testament believers no longer have to live by because of the sacrifice that was Jesus Christ. And that's, again, getting into a whole other topic there. But yeah, whenever I see people quote stuff from like Leviticus, I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have absolutely, like, you were quoting text that you do not understand the context of, you do not understand the timeline of, and you're just pulling out one little sentence there when really everything around it, it's like there's all sorts of other stuff that everybody else violates and does wrong too, because we are no longer held by that old law. So let's continue. Lie. Charlie Kirk was an anti-Semite. The New York Times. Charlie Kirk said Jews have been pushing the same hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. Reality. Charlie was reading someone else's tweet and immediately critiqued it. So again, this is a thing that you take a video of, he was reading someone else's tweet, but you just take the video clip of him reading the tweet and don't take the part of him saying this is wrong, or I'm critiquing it. Words are hard. And then there you go. You got your soundbite that says, look, he's a bad person. The New York Times later released a correction. Good on them. The correction was made September 11th, 2025. Oh, the day after. Oof. An earlier version of this article described incorrectly an anti-Semitic statement that Charlie Kirk made on an episode of his podcast. He was quoting a statement from a post on social media and went on to critique it. It was not his own statement. Thank you. Say it louder for the people in the back.
I just want to kind of ask you, like, what do you have to say?
This one, I want to make sure I get the audio going from the very beginning. This is another clip that I've seen before where this young man comes up and he introduces himself as saying, I am a gay conservative. And Charlie Kirk, he has no problem telling this young man that he disagrees with his lifestyle. It's not the first thing he says, but he's like, I disagree with your lifestyle, but he says, you don't need to introduce yourself that way. He's like, I don't care what you do in the bedroom. You say that you're a part of the conservative party. This is what we're here for. This is why we're having these conversations. Welcome to the Conservative Party. We welcome all. And he's like, that doesn't need to be your whole identity. Like, what you do in the bedroom does not need to be your identity. You don't need to introduce yourself that way. So let's make sure the audio is working. Let me know if you guys can hear it. Here we go.
Say for people like me who kind of feel like, I guess, it's kind of hard for gay conservatives because there's not a lot of us. So, like, what do you have to say to other gay people who need to realize, like, they do have a choice? Like,
Yeah, first of all, welcome to the conservative movement. I don't think you should introduce yourself just based on your sexual attraction.
No, I agree. I like,
because that's not who you are.
I like to be thought of as a person, and
for sure, you are a complete human being, and I'm sure you treat people well, and you're studying something. So I want to get away with this idea that you're gay anything. I just think that we have gone a long way in the negative direction in this country, where we act as if the most important part of your identity is what you do in the bedroom. It doesn't mean that much to me, but if you ask from a perspective as a Christian, I don't agree with that lifestyle, but politics is about addition and multiplication. I imagine you agree with a lot of what we talk about.
Absolutely.
Right? Strong borders, strong country. And for that, we welcome you into the conservative movement.
Thank you. I'm a gay conservative, and
I just want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy? Because I don't know what's true, what's not.
Tell me, are you comfortable telling me your story?
I've known that since like third grade, and I'm currently 19, almost 20. I've known basically since then. I didn't start going by like a different name until 7th and 8th grade. I just don't know, like, with the whole medical stuff, like what's true, what's not, what's helpful, because I've heard so many different opinions.
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body.
Mm-hmm.
I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you.
I just want to say I'm a transgender male.
So there it is. Maybe not necessarily so much in those clips, but he had no problem telling people what his personal beliefs were, what his worldviews were, what his perspectives were, and say, maybe I disagree with your lifestyle, maybe I disagree with whatever stuff. He would still sit and listen and commune with, and still hear them out, ask questions. it's amazing to me. It is absolutely amazing to me what people will do to misquote someone, to tear them down, especially after they have been assassinated. Yeah, the Old Testament law: no shellfish, no bacon, no trimming your beard, no cutting your hair, no tattoos. you know, yeah, funny, like, little known fact about me, actually. I actually do have an associate's degree in biblical studies, and I kind of started work on a bachelor's degree that I never quite finished. So, yeah, it's interesting when I see people on the internet try and use the Bible, like people who do not believe in the Bible trying to use the Bible to call the rest of us stupid or whatever. And it's like, well, first of all, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're taking things wildly out of context. These misquotes are what AI is perfect police. Yeah, they can do the research and show the context in real time. Yes, but I also believe that AI is also a bit of a double-edged sword. I don't trust it. I think there's a lot of times where I will Google something, and we all see it now. The first thing at the top, you do a Google search, and before you even see a Wikipedia article, it'll be like, here's your AI Gemini response or something. And sometimes that AI answer will be a little bit off. It'll be a little bit wrong. And what they want from that is they want you to go in and correct the AI and go, oh, well, now actually it's this, this, and this, and this. So then as you correct the AI, it's learning. John Connor is watching. I don't like messing around with any of that stuff. I hate it all. I don't like it's that's it. That's how we get Skynet. This is how we get Skynet, people. I feel like I was about to like segue into something else that I wanted to talk about with all of this stuff. Just the large scale topic at hand here. Where was I going? Talking about more of the dehumanizing of people that you decide are evil. I should have pulled this up earlier and had it ready. The Luigi guy, Luigi Mangione, the guy that murdered the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. I credit a lot of this dehumanization back to that. A lot of you in the chat tonight have said this, that a political tactic. I mean, I want to say largely done on the left, but also I want to give credit where credit's due. There's extreme right conservatives, there's extreme left liberals, there's extremists on both sides. I'm not naive to that. We dehumanize people so then we can justify horrific things happening to them. So what was this? 2 years ago, I think. Forget. Not the details. Honestly, I'm going to say the details aren't important, but we all know Luigi Mangione murdered the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. And I did a live stream on this when it happened. Are we okay with vigilante justice? Is this something now where a large portion of the population looks at this CEO of this healthcare company, and says, oh, well, he denied people healthcare. He was, yanking people off of life support because of this, that, and the other, whatever stuff. And don't get me wrong, I don't know a lot of the ins and outs and the details of this Brian Thompson guy. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm going to assume by the way that a majority of people reacted to this person being murdered that he probably was not a very good person. Do I think that he did anything that warranted being shot in the back of the head? I'm probably still going to lean towards no. But we have now reached this point where it hasn't been convicted, allegedly, whatever. But anyways, the point is this CEO is murdered, and people on the internet were celebrating it. This Luigi guy has supporters that are saying free Luigi, like, oh, he's a hero, he's a, whatever, all this stuff. And I'm like, whether he did it or not, okay, we're going to stick with the allegedly. Thanks, Kyle, for covering me. But like, is that a path we want to go down as a society? Is that something we want to do where we can say that, oh, well, because this guy was a greedy so-and-so, because he was a CEO and he made really unethical decisions and whatever stuff. Did this person deserve to be murdered? I'm still going to say no. So I say that, like, this vigilante justice, I feel like, was kind of the beginning of, now they can dehumanize someone like Charlie Kirk, and someone can take him out, and a large majority of people can say this was wrong and this should not have happened. But there's obviously still a lot of people out there on the internet that are celebrating it and saying, oh, but he spread hate, he spread bigotry, he did this, he did that, he whatever. Like, I just showed you just a small handful of clips, just a few video clips. But also the same thing is, you can take any video clip and you can edit anything into any context you want. You just have to cut out the parts that don't fit your narrative. But did this CEO Brian Thompson deserve to die? No. Did Charlie Kirk deserve to die? No. So just like my thumbnail on this live stream said, it's like, where do we go from here? Like, we had this woman who was a refugee from Ukraine trying to escape another horrible country that she was in, and comes here and just minding her own business, gets stabbed in the neck and bleeds out, alone and afraid, and nobody helps her. We've got this guy who allegedly murdered a CEO of a healthcare company because he decided that he was a bad person, and everybody cheered him on and said, yay, good for you, you should let him free, he shouldn't have to be convicted, he shouldn't have to go to trial, he shouldn't have to face any justice. Somebody guns down Charlie Kirk, we have people saying, oh yeah, it's fine because he didn't think we needed any more gun laws to protect children and stuff. So you know what Charlie Kirk said? So this is another one of his quotes that was taken wildly out of context. But when they were questioning him about school shootings and different things, and again, like I said in the very beginning of this, I am a survivor of a school shooting. I have never once advocated for more gun laws, more gun control. I've never once blamed the gun. Like I said, I very much blame the father. I think his dad was being very irresponsible. And that's, again, a whole other thing. But you know what Charlie Kirk said about that? He's like, how did we stop shootings at concerts? How did we stop shootings at baseball games? How did we stop shootings at football games? We have metal detectors. We have armed guards. Those are the things that people don't want to do. We need to do whatever it takes to protect our children. But what they think is going to protect our children is by taking guns away from everybody. No, you know what you do? You put metal detectors at the entrance and exit of every school, and you put armed guards at every school, every college campus. If there had been metal detectors and armed guards at this college campus, Charlie Kirk would still be alive. There you go. Even at a college campus, if you could not get through a security screening, when was the last time you went to a concert or a major sporting event, an NFL football game, a Major League Baseball game, any sort of major stadium or arena style event where you did not have to empty out your pockets, walk through a metal detector, possibly get patted down by hand or waved down with a wand like TSA style? That is how you stop mass shooters at events, at schools, at college campuses. You just have to take precautionary measures that people don't want to take. After the shooting at my high school in 2001, every year after that was my freshman year of high school. Every year after that, we had multiple armed, uniformed police officers on campus. Every single day, in plain sight, in their uniforms, with their weapon right there on their hip, in plain sight. Not once did anybody ever complain about feeling unsafe because of the presence of an armed police officer. You put metal detectors in schools, you put armed guards at schools. Let's talk about Dimebag Darrell, the famed guitarist of Pantera, gunned down on stage while playing with his band Damage Plan because they were playing in a small venue that didn't have that kind of security, that didn't have that level of security back then. He was shot and murdered on stage playing his guitar. His brother, Vinnie Paul, the drummer, also caught a bullet, survived, but was also shot. I go to a concert now, I am checked like I'm getting on an airplane. It is like TSA level security to go to a concert. And you know what? Nobody gets shot. Vigilante justice doesn't need to be fatal. Civil arrest is the thing. That is fair also. Yes. Yelling at a person who's being rude is a form of vigilante action. They just got to scream that they're, being an ist or a phobe or whatever. Stadium security requires transparent bags, purses, and backpacks. So I think like that's a fairly new thing with like you have to have like the bag can only be so big and it has to be clear or whatever. I think like the clear bag thing is kind of weird because they could still like inspect your bags and whatever and anything. I'm just saying like that was Charlie Kirk's whole thing. He was like, we stopped shootings at sporting events and things of that sort because there are armed guards at these events. And don't get me wrong. Again, there's been a lot of school shootings recently too. Also equally horrible, absolutely horrible. Again, more innocent people being injured or possibly losing their lives that do not deserve to go through anything that traumatic. But every single time it becomes a conversation of we need to take away everyone's guns. We need more laws. We need more restrictions. It's like, back to my personal experience. Andy Williams was a 14-year-old freshman at my school. He didn't go out and buy the gun. He didn't go out, like no law would have stopped him from getting his hands on that pistol because his dad had it that he had bought legally and was irresponsible with how he left that cabinet locked up or where he left the key for it or the fact that Andy knew how to unlock the cabinet. Anything short of just literally saying nobody gets any guns, nothing would have stopped that shooting at my high school. I don't know about some of these other ones. I don't know how some of these other students or how some of these other kids acquired their weapons that they went and did what they did with. But the question always comes up with, we need more laws. We need more restrictions. It's like, no, that is not the answer. But they say, oh, if you don't advocate for gun control, you're a bad person. I was like, I am unfortunately one of the few individuals in this world who has experienced and lived through and survived a school shooting. And I have never once advocated for more laws, more rules, more restrictions, more. That doesn't solve the root problem. One, we've got a major mental health issue in our country that's not being dealt with. Matt Walsh has been very outspoken on the fact that the left wants to talk all about how we need to destigmatize talking about mental health. We need to make people feel comfortable talking about their mental health. People need to feel comfortable going to therapy and whatever. And I agree. I absolutely agree. Like if you really do have certain issues and things, like you should not ever be made to feel bad to talk about those things and to open up and be vulnerable about them or to go to therapy. But what Matt Walsh also goes on to say is that there are probably more people in therapy in America now than ever. And yet the claims of mental illness and mental health issues continue to rise. So it's like any other kind of modern medicine. What does modern medicine really want? They don't really want to cure cancer. They don't really want to cure whatever is wrong with you. They want to keep you sick and they want to keep you coming back and they want to keep you paying that bill. So most, not all of them, but most therapists are just sitting there charging a bunch of narcissistic people who will pay for a session of someone who has to sit there and listen to their bullshit for an hour once a week or however frequently their sessions are. And they don't help them. They don't help them overcome their trauma. They don't help them work through their issues. They just say, oh, okay, yeah, how does that make you feel? Sounds good. Okay, I'll see you next week. And then they take their payment and then they go about their day. Most people in any sort of healthcare, mental health, modern medicine, anything, don't actually want to help people. They want to keep you sick so that you keep coming back and giving them money. Charlie Shooter took a rifle from a relative's garage. I thought I had read that it was his grandfather's. Because wasn't that in like the text exchange? I think that they I could be totally wrong. I don't know, but I thought I remembered reading somewhere that he said it was his grandfather's, and so like his dad was asking where it was and all that. But no, we have a major mental health issue. I absolutely believe there's a major issue of mental health in this country, but I don't think most therapists are actually doing anything to help anyone. It's not more gun control. It's going to save people. You just gotta do the thing that nobody wants to do. Metal detectors and armed guards. That's it. My good friend Kyle here, same thing. We went to high school together. We were there. We saw it. We literally saw it. We witnessed it. We lived through it. We survived it. No law would have stopped Andy from doing what he did. Okay, so that's interesting that it was like given to him as a gift. So that, yeah, I remember it was the text exchange between his roommate, which again, that whole text exchange felt very convenient and very like kind of scripted and kind of planned. But yeah, there were mentions in there of it being his grandfather's gun, but I could see that as like being given to him as a gift. Laws on the books should be enough if they'd enforce them. Also true. But it's a matter of like, when a minor gets a hold of a gun, if you're, I'm sure every state is different, but anywhere between the ages of 18 to 21, if you're below those ages, you can't just go out and buy a gun. So if a family has guns in the house and someone below the age of 18 gets a hold of them, that's on the parents. The parents should be tried. The parents should be charged. Again, back to my own personal experience, the shooter from my high school, nothing ever happened to his dad. He just disappeared into obscurity. He hasn't even shown up for any of the parole hearings or anything of his son trying to get out early. But I fully believe that like his dad should have been put on trial. They should have questioned him. Like, okay, you had the guns in the house. Did you teach him the proper use and respect of the guns? Was the gun locked up? Why did he have access to the gun? How did he get the key to the gun case? Words have described that text exchange as exculpatory. Yeah, I don't know. It felt very scripted. So I don't know, man. I don't know. We've been going for what, 6, 7, almost 2 hours. I've been just ranting like a crazy person here. This is also not entirely untrue. I'm not uncrazy. I'm not crazy. But this might be a good spot to maybe call it a night. We'll see what I come up with next Monday. I don't want to keep harping on the same topics week after week, but I imagine that this current question of free speech versus consequences and whatnot is going to be a popular topic for a little while. I'll be very curious to see what happens with the Jimmy Kimmel show tomorrow, whether it actually airs or not, and what everyone has to say, what Jimmy has to say. The fact that he's been completely silent this whole time is what probably bothers me more than anything, is that he is yet to apologize or acknowledge the fact that, and he might double down and still say, oh no, what I said is absolutely true, even though he has absolutely zero proof to say that what he said is true. I'm not going to be the person that's like, he needs to apologize, because that's a very leftist tactic, whatever. But I feel like he needs to acknowledge that what he said was untrue and incredibly, I don't know, whatever. It is what it is. But yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here. I think I'm going to kind of make this my Monday spot. Because like I said, I started going back to the gym and everything. So it's a matter of I get off work, I go to the gym, I get home about 5:30, shower, have a quick bite to eat, and then I can just hop on here and talk for however long people want to hang out and talk. I know some of you are tuning in from different time zones, looking at you, Blair. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. And we'll see what I come up with next Monday, 6:30 p.m. California time. But I'm going to leave you guys for tonight. thank you again so much for hanging out. Have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great rest of your week. And, as always, be excellent to each other. I'll see you guys next week.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.